The US is very likely to adopt a new tank in the very near future. Don't worry Abrams fans, this is not meant to replace the Abrams tank in any way. Instead, this new tank is meant to be Abrams' lighter, or rather much lighter, brother that will support Infantry Brigade Combat Teams, or IBCTs, which currently have no such vehicles assigned to them. IBCTs are light, airborne and air assault units, and there are currently several programs aimed to improve the capabilities of IBCTs. The Ground Mobility Vehicle, or GMV, the Light Reconnaissance Vehicle, or LRV, and the one we are going to talk about today, the Mobile Protected Firepower, or MPF. This video is sponsored by Tank Encyclopedia magazine. The magazine is available on Payhip, where you can buy single issues or you can get packs for cheaper. The magazine covers armored vehicles from World War I, World War II, Cold War and modern era, so there is something for everyone. You can get yours today by following the link in the description, and if you use the code REDEFFECT, you will receive a 10% discount. Now, there have been two competitors for this program, BAE with the improved M8 AGS and General Dynamics with the Griffin 2. But according to Janes, BAE has been disqualified last month due to non-compliance issues. And reading about the program, I can tell you it is not much of a surprise, since they were facing delays and failed to meet some deadlines. That leaves General Dynamics as the only competitor in the program, which means that this summer, when the winner should officially be announced, we will probably see a contract being awarded to General Dynamics to supply the army with the Griffin 2 light tank. So what do we know about this new tank? Griffin 2 came from the development of the Griffin tank, which was first shown in 2016, and it brought up some pretty decent things to the table. First and foremost, the Griffin 1 featured the lightweight 120mm XM360 main gun, which is a product of the failed Future Combat Systems program. The tank was also made on the Ajax infantry fighting vehicle basis and featured a lightweight Abrams turret. The downside of it was that the base armor only protected the tank from the 7.62 AP fire, so not even 50 cal. Of course, the Griffin 2 now has some major differences. The gun is no longer the 120mm one. Instead, it's the 105mm gun, supposedly the M35. This means that the firepower of the vehicle has decreased. While the APF-SDS ammunition isn't really that much relevant for this vehicle, and we will get to that, the new advanced multi-purpose projectile will not be available for this tank, and the crew will have to make do with the older types of ammunition. This could also put some strain on the logistics, since the ammunition for the tanks will not be universal. Now, the vehicle is not really meant to engage MBTs, but it is somewhat required from it to be able to. The primary target for this tank would be bunkers and other defensive positions, pretty much to bring the heavy firepower to the IBCTs. As far as the enemy MBTs are concerned, M900 APF-SDS should be able to do the trick against many older tanks, but for the modern ones, well, let's just say you won't be engaging an enemy tank from the front every time. The armor also appears to be improved in comparison to the original Griffin tank, since the turret appears to be visually thicker than the old one. Some additional modules also appear to have been mounted on the hull. Now, I have to express some concerns. As you can see, the smoke launchers are mounted on the front of the turret, in the cutouts of the external armor plate. This worries me because it would suggest that there are either weak spots on the turret, or that the external plate is just cosmetic armor and the actual protection might be less than it might appear. Funnily enough, this reminds me of the new North Korean tank, which appears to be having the same issue. Now, this may not be the final product. General Dynamics has reportedly delivered several variations of the Griffin 2 for the trials, and the one that we see the most could probably be one of the earlier ones, since the pictures of it date to at least 2019, which would be somewhere around the start of the project. For example, here is what seems to be the first proposed model of the Griffin 2, with a thicker turret which resembles the Abrams turret more, and lacks the apparent weak spots on the front. Speaking of resembling the Abrams turret, the inside of the turret apparently resembles the Abrams one as well. In an interview, a General Dynamics spokesperson said, "If you sat in a mobile protected firepower turret, you would think you were sitting in a Sepway 3 turret. It's all the same displays, architectures, power distribution, etc." Also, if we look at the externals of the turret, the commander's cupola appears to be identical. The main gun sight also appears to be very similar to the one of the Abrams. The CITV though, yeah, it is different. but we don't really have any information about the sights, the thermal images being used, etc., since that stuff is still classified. The turret also has blowout panels at the back, which means there are blast doors inside, which, yeah, goes along with the insides being similar to the Abrams. The tank is supposedly powered by an 800 horsepower engine, which is mounted in the front. But we don't have any information about the weight. On the presentation of the Griffin 1, it was stated that it weighs 27 tons. Now, was it short tons or metric tons? I can't really tell you, but as we already discussed, the tank's protection wasn't really the best, and it is fair to assume that the extra armor added a bit of weight to the vehicle, so I would guess around 30 tons maybe. The requirements for the program do not call for the vehicle to be airdroppable, and with this one, it most likely is not the case. The BAE's M8 was claimed to be airdroppable though, but yeah, they got disqualified. In the end, it seems to be a decent vehicle for its intended use, and hopefully we will see it in the service very soon. I say hopefully because anything can happen in the next couple of months. I personally like it and I think it would be a great addition to the IBCTs. That would be all. If you like my content, you can consider supporting me on Patreon, or leave a like or sub to the channel if you're new. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a nice day.